All right, let's get into it. Today, we're basically hopping into a time machine. We're going to set the dials way, way back to the very beginning of English literature. We're going to meet our Anglo-Saxon ancestors not just by looking at what they did, but by trying to understand what they felt, what they feared, and what they dreamed about. It's going to be a wild ride.
So let me just start with this question. What if you could actually read the minds of your ancestors? I mean, really get inside their heads. Not just the dry facts, like who they fought or what they ate, but what was really going on in their hearts. Well, here's the cool thing. In a way, you can. And that's exactly what we're going to explore. You know, literature is so much more than just a pile of dusty old books. Think of it like a special kind of time machine. It's a portal that doesn't just show you the past, it lets you feel the past. It's like it cracks open a door and our imagination can just walk right through into this world of heroes, beauty, and total mystery. The writer Goethe put it perfectly. He called literature the humanization of the whole world. And that's it, right? It's not about memorizing dates or the names of battles. It's about connecting with the deeply human thoughts and feelings of people who lived and breathed centuries before we ever existed. So what does it actually preserve? Well, all the big stuff. The things that still matter to every single one of us today. Ideals like love and faith and a sense of duty, friendship, freedom, reverence. These are the invisible threads that connect us across all that time, making these people from the past feel less like statues in a museum and a lot more like, well, like us. Okay, so let's take this big idea and apply it to a specific group, the Anglo-Saxons, our early English-speaking ancestors. What do we really know about them? Well, history books give us one picture, but their literature, that gives us something way, way deeper. And this, right here, shows the difference perfectly. History tells us what they did. They were these hardcore sea rovers, explorers, maybe even pirates. They ate a lot, they drank a lot, but their literature, that tells us why. It gets into what they thought about life and death, what they loved, what absolutely terrified them. It basically gives us their soul. So where do we find all these juicy details? Well, our first and biggest clue is this incredible epic poem called Beowulf. You have to think of this as the blockbuster action movie of its day, packed with larger-than-life heroes, terrifying monsters, and this really heavy sense of destiny. So the story kicks off with this absolutely horrifying monster named Grendel. Just picture it. You've got this great hall, the center of life for the Danish king and his warriors. It's supposed to be a place of safety and celebration. But every single night, this death shadow, this fiend, creeps in from the swamps and just unleashes pure terror. And right into the middle of all this chaos steps our hero, Beowulf. The whole epic is really structured around his 3 legendary fights. First, he goes head-to-head with Grendel, using nothing but his bare hands. Then, he has to face Grendel's mom, who's even more monstrous down in her creepy underwater lair. And finally, years later, as an old king, he has to fight a massive fire-breathing dragon to save his people. Seriously, it's epic in every sense of the word. But underneath all this incredible action, there's this really powerful, kind of somber idea that runs through everything. The Anglo-Saxons had this concept they called word. We'd translate it as fate. They truly believed that every single person's destiny was already decided, that it was this unchangeable force controlling everything. You couldn't run from it. All you could do was face it with courage. Just listen to how they talk about the burial of a great king. Then Skilled departed, at word of weird spoken. See that? There's no fighting it. It was just his time to go. There's this really solemn beauty to it, a deep acceptance of how life works. And this idea of weird, of fate, is absolutely essential to how they saw the entire world. Okay, so we know what they wrote about, heroes, monsters, fate. But what did these stories actually sound like? If you were sitting in that great hall, listening to a poet chant a story, you wouldn't be hearing nice, neat little rhymes. Nope. You'd be hearing something totally different, something really powerful and rhythmic. Their poetry was built on something called alliteration. It's really simple. It's just repeating the same sound at the beginning of words in the same line. This was the musical heartbeat of their poems. It gave them this driving, chanting rhythm that was absolutely perfect for telling these epic stories out loud, probably with a harp playing in the background. Let's just listen to a quick example so you can really hear what I'm talking about. The line goes, "Comrades, still heeding his word of command.
Hear that? That hard C sound? Comrades. Command. That's the alliteration. That strong, punchy repetition. That was the music they were listening for, not the kind of soft end-of-line rhymes we're so used to today.
Okay, so as time marches on, this huge new influence arrives in England and it changes their stories forever. That influence was Christianity. Suddenly, the old world of pagan gods, monsters, and inescapable fate started to mix and merge with these new ideas of one God, of sin, and of salvation. So think of this as a quick roadmap of this incredible period of change. We've got these key figures who totally shaped the era. There's Caedmon, who becomes the first known English religious poet. There's Bede, a brilliant scholar. And then King Alfred the Great, who was a huge champion of learning. But let's start with Caedmon, because his story, well, it's pretty amazing. One of the most fascinating people from this time is a guy named Caedmon. Now, he wasn't some warrior poet from the old tradition. Not at all. He was a simple cattle herder at a monastery who, as the story goes, was miraculously given the gift of song in a dream. And what did he sing about? This is the brilliant part. He took the stories from the Bible and told them using the same poetic style as the old epics. He described the fall of Satan from heaven, using the same kind of language a poet would use to describe a disloyal warrior being banished by his king. It's this amazing blend of the old heroic style with new Christian ideas, and it shows you exactly how culture and literature evolve over time.
Okay, so we've traveled back more than 1,000 years. We've met monster slayers and monks, but so what? Why does any of this ancient stuff matter to us right here, right now? It's a fair question.
Well, here's why it matters. This is our foundation. The very words I am speaking to right now, the basic nuts and bolts of our sentences, it all started with them. This old, tough, vigorous Anglo-Saxon language is the bedrock that our modern English is built on. They aren't just characters in a history book. In a very real way, they are our linguistic ancestors.
And that really brings us full circle, doesn't it? Literature preserves the ideals of a people. The Anglo-Saxons left us these incredible stories of courage against a bleak fate, of deep loyalty, and of a new faith finding its voice. Their stories tell us who they were. So I guess I'll just leave you with this thought. These were their stories. What stories are we going to leave behind?